Sorry for the interruption. So, um, as I was saying that Lamb had observed uh, the children in general, or had remembered how they behaved as how they behaved when he himself was a child. So let's proceed. Um, Then, in somewhat a more heightened tone, I told how, though their great grandmother Field loved all her grandchildren, yet in a special manner actually, she might be said to love their uncle John Lamb, because he was so handsome and spirited a youth, and a king to the rest of us, and instead of moping about in solitary corners like some of us, he would mount the most mettlesome horse he could get when but an imp, no bigger than themselves, and make it carry him half over the county in a morning, and join the hunters when there were any out. So now he is talking about the namesake of his second, or the namesake of his male dream children, that is John. So the name John is taken from the name of John Lamb, who was Charles's brother. And it is evident that great grandmother Field loved John Lamb, more than any of her other grandchildren. I mean, there are favorites among favorites. um, because John was very handsome, and he was very spirited, and he was very outgoing. Instead of spending time in the house or in the garden doing nothing, he used to ride horses. He used to tame very untamable horses. Horses initially are not tamed when they are brought from the wild, and the riders need to tame them. So he used to tame the horse, and he used to get on the back of the horse and would ride across the entire county. Uh, and he would join the hunters if there were any out. So John Lamb is a foil. John Lamb is a completely opposite character to that of Charles, and it highlights the solitariness, or it highlights whatever is the issue with Charles. John and Charles, they are very different personalities, and to introduce a different personality always heightens the personality that we were talking of earlier. And yet, he loved the old great house and gardens too, but had too much spirit to be always pent up within their boundaries. And how their uncle grew up to man's estate as brave, and he was handsome to the admiration of everybody, but of their great grandmother Field most especially, and how he used to carry me upon his back when I was a lame footed boy, for he was a good bit older than me, many a mile when I could not walk for pain. So, John Lamb grew up to be a very handsome man, and everybody admired John Lamb, including grandmother Field. And it was he who carried Lamb across on his shoulders for miles at length, because Lamb himself was lame footed. He was not very physically able. He was he had some issues with his leg, because John Lamb was a little older than Charles Lamb himself, and hence he could carry him on the shoulder. and how in afterlife he became lame footed too, and I did not always, I fear, make allowances enough for him when he was impatient and in pain, nor remember sufficiently how considerate he had been to me when I was lame footed. So it happened that in later life, John Lamb himself became lame footed. Maybe he had a fall from the horse, or some kind of disease made him lame footed. But Charles Lamb was not always very generous to his brother. Sometimes he forgot that how he had carried Charles across his shoulders, and he was not very. Sometimes he quarreled with John when he was impatient, because sometimes people, when they their lose some part, some function of their bodies, they become very impatient, they become very sad, and the impatience and the anger comes from this kind of sadness. um, and how when he died, though he had not been dead an hour, it seemed as if he had died a great while ago. Such a distance there is betwixt means between, betwixt life and death, and how I bore his death, as I thought pretty well at first, but afterwards it haunted and haunted me, and though I did not cry or take it to heart as some do, and as I think he would have done if I had died, yet I missed him all day long, and knew not till then how much I had loved him. So here something strange and something interesting is occurring. He is saying that he is dead, and though he had not been dead an hour. So does it mean that John Lamb has died an hour ago, or what is it that Charles wants to say here? What is it that Lamb wants to say here? It could be two things. One, either it means that John Lamb has really died just an hour ago, and this essay is being written an hour after the death of his brother, which seems unlikely. মানে কেউ মারা গেছে, তার 1 ঘন্টা মাত্র হয়েছে, তখনই সে বসে এসে লিখছে, এটা মানে এটা না হওয়ার চান্সই বেশি, স্পেশালি সেই সময়কার কথা নয়, মানে দিস সাউন্ডস ভেরি insensitive. If your brother has died and you are writing an essay an hour after his death, it might sound a little insensitive. But what I think is happening here, or what I think Lamb is trying to say here, is that though he is dead um, for a very long time now, it seems that he is dead an hour ago. Or it might also seem that though he has died an hour ago, it seems that he had died a long while ago. But we should also remember that this is a dream, and anything can happen in a dream. So if uh, uh, sometimes we think we recollect the death of a person, the death of a loved one, and we believe we go back to that, to the moment of that death, and we relive it. We seem to think that a person has died just now, or we have got the news of the death just now. Yet the time between the death and the present situation seems to be greater than seems to be greater uh, And the same thing is happening here, where uh, John Lamb has died a long time ago, but in his dream he feels as if John Lamb has just died, has died an hour ago, and in his dream he feels that even if he is dead an hour ago, the distance between life and death is so great that it seems that he has died ages ago. Let me know if you find it confusing, because it does present some kind of confusion. অ্যাকচুয়ালি ও স্বপ্নে এটা দেখছে যে জন আবার মারা গেছে। আমাদের যে ট্রমা বা আমাদের যে পেইনটা থাকে সেটা স্বপ্নে আমাদের কাছে অনেক সময় নাইটমেয়ার হয়ে ফিরে আসে, আর সেই নাইটমেয়ারে আমরা দেখি যে আমাদের প্রিয় মানুষ আবার মরে গেছে। আর ল্যাম্ব এখানে ভাবছে যে ওর ভাই 1 ঘন্টা আগে মারা গেছে, কিন্তু ওর এমন মনে হচ্ছে স্বপ্নের মধ্যেই যে 1 ঘন্টা হয়েছে মারা গেছে ঠিকই, কিন্তু সময়টা অনেকটা পেরিয়ে গেছে। আরও এটাও বলছে যে আমি খুব একটা কাঁদিনি বা খুব একটা মানে আমার যে কষ্টটা হয়েছে সেটা আমি দেখাইনি, কিন্তু ওর মৃত্যুটা আমাকে তাড়িয়ে বেরিয়েছে, ওর মৃত্যুকে আমি কিছুতেই ভুলতে পারছি না। আমি ওকে সারাদিন মিস করি, আমি ওর আমি ওকে দু চোখে হারাই এখন। আর এখন আমি বুঝতে পারি যে আমি আমার ভাইকে, আমি আমার দাদাকে কতটা ভালোবাসতাম। The death was real. The dream, of course, is not real. John Lamb was the brother of Charles Lamb, and John Lamb had died, and he had died a long while ago. Um, but in the dream he dreams that he has been dead only an hour ago, কিন্তু সেটা নয়, ও 1 ঘন্টা আগে মারা যায়নি। অ্যাকচুয়াল লাইফে অনেক বছর হয়েছে সে মারা গেছে, কারণ 1 ঘন্টা আগে মারা গেছে এবং সে এসেটা লিখবে এটা ইম্পসিবল। অনেক বছর আগে মারা গেছে, বা অনেক মাস হয়তো অ্যাটলিস্ট হয়েছে মারা গেছে, কিন্তু ড্রিমেও দেখছে যে ও জন ল্যাম্ব যেন এক্ষুনি বা 1 ঘন্টা আগে মারা গেছে, সেটা ড্রিমে দেখছে। তো আগেন দিস ড্রিম, দ্য টাইটেল অফ ড্রিম ইজ গেটিং প্লেড হেয়ার। ড্রিমের মধ্যে ও এইসব ধরনের জিনিসগুলোকে দেখছে, এবং আর একটা সত্যি কথা ও আমাদেরকে বলে রাখছে যে আমরা কোনো জিনিস হারিয়ে যাওয়ার পরই সেটার ভ্যালুটা বুঝতে পারি। আর স্পেশালি এটা হয় হচ্ছে ভাই বোনদের ক্ষেত্রে। ভাই বোনেরা নিজেদেরকে ভালোবাসে ঠিকই, কিন্তু তারা কিছুতেই অ্যাকনলেজ করতে চায় না, এবং ভাই বা বোনরা যখন একে অপরের থেকে দূরে চলে যায় তখনই তাদের ভালোবাসাটা তাদের কাছে ক্লিয়ার হয়, তারা তখন সেই ভালোবাসাটাকে বুঝতে পারে আর কি। ঠিক আছে, লেট আস স্টপ হিয়ার টুডে। উই উইল হ্যাভ অ্যানাদার ক্লাস সুন, অ্যান্ড in that class I believe we can finish the um, chapter, finish the essay. If you have any questions, do let me know. কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন, কোনো কনফিউশন থাকলে বলো, আমি এখন বলার চেষ্টা করব, বা তোমরা অন্য সময়ও বলতে পারো। ঠিক আছে, যদি কোনো কোয়েশ্চেন না থাকে, ইউ মে লিভ দ্য মিটিং।